All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another extra SROS video. Today, we're just going to start to put feelers out there. I have a ton of players that are going to be maybe brought up at any point this year in terms of getting traded, and I'm going to drop them all into a tier list today, and I would love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on this down below if you agree or disagree with me on anything here. And I'm definitely going to do another one of these as we get like closer to the deadline, definitely after December 15th when like half the league can get traded again. So I have them in the 5 different tiers, can be TBD. There's a chance I could end up changing any of them down the line. So if we look here, we have it's inevitable. I do feel like there's a really high chance they end up getting traded at some point this year. I feel like it just makes a ton of sense for it to eventually happen. We have it make sense, right? Like free agent at the end of the year, they don't fit the team's timeline. It just makes sense that they end up getting moved. It wouldn't shock me. Like, I think it could get brought up. I think if it happened, you know what? I kind of could see that happening. They would like to. I'm sure they would love to trade this player, but for contract or just a lack of market, it's probably not going to transpire. Maybe they get bought out. Maybe, yeah, they just have to wait a year for them to like recoup some value. And then probably not. Either they've been playing well, exceeding expectations, so the team is like, why would we trade them? Maybe it just doesn't really make sense this year. Maybe that's something that happens at the a point in the off season. And if there's anybody here that I talk about that you think should have been brought up, also let me know down below. I'm gonna update some of these player PNGs so they're in the right jerseys, but you'll get the point. Malik Monk wouldn't shock me. I feel like that's going to end up being a lot of Sacramento Kings here today. I mean, just looking at this team, right, that they're so bad this year. What are they? They're 3-11. They have the 26th ranked net rating, and we're going to bring up like almost everybody here. Like I have these guys brought up: Levine, DeMontis DeMar, Malik Monk. I have some of the young guys like Carter and Keon Ellis we're going to talk about as well. Malik Monk has a, I don't know, I would still say a favorable contract. $18 million, $20 million, $21 million player option. It's not terrible for where the salary cap is at right now. He's still a really good three-point shooter. He could be a backup point guard for you. He's playing a lot more off ball this year than he was last year for the Sacramento Kings. It wouldn't shock me. I think this team has to go a little bit of a step backwards, and that could start with Malik Monk. I think it makes sense for the Washington Wizards to move on from Marvin Bagley this year. Bagley's actually been kind of a nice surprise for Washington as a backup big man. I know, former 2nd overall pick. He's playing well in the minutes he's in. He's a solid offensive center. That's pretty much all you can ask for. He signed, I think, a 2-year deal with them in the offseason. He ended up signing, or no, just a 1-year veteran minimum. So very easy to move. I could see a team looking for some big man depth or some help just offensively down low. Could trade for Marvin Bagley. I wouldn't say that it's inevitable. Like, Washington does not have great big man depth outside of Alex Sarr. And I mean, they need better defense because this team is abysmal this year. They are the worst team in the NBA. They are dead last in net rating. They want to keep that first round pick. Dead last in defensive rating. I think it just makes sense, though, for Marvin Bagley to be on a different team. Washington could just recoup some of the seconds they gave up for, like, Cam Whitmore in the offseason, and anybody could trade for Marvin Bagley, given the contract. I think they would like to, the Brooklyn Nets, they would like to get something from Michael Porter Jr. this year, who has been actually not the worst number 1 option. The Nets have 2 wins this year. This team is a very tough watch at the moment. Michael Porter Jr. is taking, roughly 18 shots per night. He's averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, and about 3 assists this year. He's shooting 35% from 3 and 8 attempts a night. Like, it could make sense, but I don't think anybody is going to really pony up that contract or that matching salary for a 2-year deal. $38 million this year, $40 million next year. So the Nets would probably get back like a bad contract, but the Nets also don't own their first round pick in 2027. The Rockets have a swap with it. So I think that makes them really fascinating to see how they're going to operate at the deadline, because I think they want to be competitive next year, given they don't have their first round pick. I don't know what's going to happen with the draft lottery. They're playing bad enough where they're going to at least finish with a bottom 3, bottom 5 record this year. So we'll see what ends up happening with the Nets over the course of the year. I think they would definitely accept something. I think they would like to get a first rounder for Michael Porter Jr. I'm not sure if that's going to happen at any point. I think Charlotte would also like to move Miles Bridges. I mean, we've already had Brandon Miller be injured. LaMelo just came back, but he hasn't really been great this year, and we know he's dealing with some ankle injuries. He's under contract till 2029. I don't want to watch Miles Bridges on the Charlotte team anymore. I want to see more Sexton. I want to see more Knipple. He's been great this year. I want to see more Lee McNeely, Kalkbrenner, Sion James. Obviously, I want to see more LaMelo and Brandon Miller. The Charlotte Hornets have been competitive this year. They recently just lost to the Toronto Raptors, but they're 21st in net rating. It's not like they're a bottom 5 team this year. They're top 20 in offense. They've had a 2-point loss to the Raptors. They've had a 4-point loss to the Pelicans. They've had a 4-point loss to Philadelphia. They've had some bad losses, but yeah, Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball have been hurt. They're still waiting to get back. Grant Williams and Josh Green is still out with the shoulder injury as well. I think they would love to just recoup another asset for Miles Bridges. I would like to think that they would. So I think they'd make him available. He's making $25 million this year, $22.8 million next year. If Kyle Kuzma could go for a future swap in AJ Johnson last year, I think they should be able to trade away Miles Bridges. I think it's going to be easier to move Miles Bridges than Michael Porter Jr. Like, would a desperate team that doesn't want to give up a good pick trade for him? Like, I don't know if New Orleans would pull that off. That just doesn't really make a lot of roster fit sense. Like, I could see maybe, who's the team that was just in my head? The Clippers. The Clippers have been a disaster this year. Miles Bridges could be somebody that they could look to end up trading for. I don't think Phoenix would. I don't think they should trade for Miles Bridges. He does not fit what they're doing this year, and they've been exceeding expectations, but that's a team that doesn't own their first-round pick. I mean, the Bucks were kind of linked to Miles Bridges last year. Maybe they flip Kuzma for, I don't know. Like, that could be something. Kuzma's been hot and cold this year, but has had some good games. So I think it would be a little bit more easier to move Miles Bridges going forward than Michael Porter Jr. Obi Toppin, it wouldn't shock me. We're going to bring up a couple Indiana Pacers here today. The Indiana Pacers, one of the worst teams in the league this year, mostly due to injuries. Now, I don't want to wow, they're 1-13. Holy shit. I thought they got a second win. No, they're 1-13, 29th in net rating. So they kind of got healthier over the last few weeks. Oh my God, look at the margin of defeat. Look at all this red. Oh my God. So they lost by 25 to Memphis. They lost by 20 to Atlanta. They lost by 9 to Brooklyn. That's really bad. They lost by 17 to Denver. Oh my God. They lost by 29 to Golden State. 31 to Golden State. They lost 24 to Utah. They lost, 35 to Phoenix, 18 to Toronto, and 15 to the Pistons, who don't even have Cade, Ivy. I don't even think Asar played in that game either. I know Darren played. I mean, this team is obviously without Halliburton. Neesmith is going to be out a little bit. Obi Toppin is currently hurt. But, Benedict Mathurin is back. Nembhard is back. Siakam is healthy. Jarris Walker's just been a flat-out disappointment this year. He's been one of the worst rotational players in the league. Ben Shepherd as well. I mean, we might have to give Tyrese Halliburton an MVP this year in a year he's not even playing in. I think it always made sense for them to shop around Obi Toppin because, let's be honest, this team is cheap. The ownership is cheap. They did not want to go into the luxury tax, and I know it could make sense or not, but they don't have the track record to make me think they're not cheap. Even Obi Toppin was rumored to get traded last year as a salary cut. Him and TJ McConnell, but then they made the finals, so they're like, we can't trade these guys. So I would keep an eye on Obi Toppin. I don't even think I put TJ McConnell on here, but I will add him as well throughout this. I'm going to say probably not for Pascal Siakam. I think they would listen for Pascal. I brought this up in the offseason enough, talking about how they could try to sell high on Siakam, just help them make the finals. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. Siakam's 31. He's going to be 32 in April. And then, we can't really pencil in Indiana as a top team in the East next year just because Halliburton's coming off the worst injury you can have in this league. And usually when these guys recover from the Achilles tear, there's a little bit of a gap year. There's a gap period for them to get kind of used and back to the swing of things. Now, medicine and recovery time and rehabilitation is as good as ever, but I don't think we can write in pen that they are going to be an elite team next year with what they have right now. Jarris Walker might be a lost asset. Are they going to re-sign Benedict Mathurin going forward? Will these injuries to Aaron Nesmith and Obi Toppin linger into next year? McConnell's a year older. It makes sense. It does make sense for them to shop Siakam, see if a team would give you an absolute haul for him, and you're recouping those assets around Halliburton, hopefully a top 3 pick going forward. I could see the vision in that, but obviously this team thinks it has its window with Siakam still in his prime, with Halliburton coming back, and he means a lot. Indiana has, they signed Malcolm Brogdon before. They're not really a big free agency destination. So I'm going to say probably not for Siakam, but I think it was worth kind of bringing him up conversations. I think Quentin Grimes, probably not as well. He's been too good for Philadelphia this year. They've been a little bit better than expectations. Now, I don't think they're as good as their record shows, but hey, Embiid's missed some time. Paul George just came back. Guys have missed some time. Quentin Grimes, though, is he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year because he signed a little bit more than the qualifying offer. Or either if he did, no, I think he did sign the qualifying offer. So did he sign 100? So he can't get traded till the 1st. Okay, so he can veto a trade. So basically he didn't sign no, he did sign the qualifying. Wait. Okay, so he signed the qualifying offer. Therefore, he has like that de facto no trade clause this year. So we'll see if he vetoes anything. He has been good this year for Philadelphia. I mean, he's really good in like an off-ball role. But like if Philadelphia thinks they're going to have some financial issues going forward, they could look to move him. Now, Edgecombe's contract gets a little bit more expensive. McCain's, Maxi's, all these guys as well. But Grimes has been such a vital piece. He's been their second best player this year, in my opinion, after Tyrese Maxey. But Embiid's contract goes up $3 million, but the cap hit goes down technically percentage-wise. Same with Embiid, or same with George, and Maxey's goes slightly up. Edgecombe's actually goes down against the cap, and they're going to be off $13 million from these guys in Oubre and Drummond. And Jared McCain obviously is making basically nothing in the modern NBA, so they can afford quitting Grimes. It just depends if like Washington, Utah, Brooklyn, one of those teams throws a bag at Grimes in the offseason. If Philly kind of fizzles out a little bit, maybe they could look to trade him. They're 8-5 right now. They just had a nice win last night against the Clippers. I guess it's not as impressive as we thought going into the year beating the Clippers, but still a good win regardless with no Embiid. It was George's first game back. Like they're pretty much middle of the pack right now. And they've had some like close losses. They've had some close wins. A lot of their games have been kind of crazy this year, entertainment wise. It's been very close. I don't think it ends up happening, honestly. It wouldn't shock me if Rob Dillingham got traded, man. Rob Dillingham has really kind of struggled to be a mainstay in this Timberwolves rotation. Do you realize this is a sunk cost because you gave up a swap in 2030 and an unprotected first rounder in 2031 to trade up for Dillingham, who has not been a good rotational piece for you this year. You know he's not a good defender. He's not much of a playmaker. And if he's not knocking down his threes, he is not very useful to you for a team that is trying to make it to the conference finals this year, like they've done the last 2 years. Dillingham becomes an intriguing buy low asset for some teams. I don't know if he would headline a trade, like if it's a 1-for-1, or are they trying to package 3 guys here to go after a notable name. Dillingham making about 6.5 this year, 6.8 next year. It's not even a guarantee this option in 28 gets picked up. So we'll see what happens with Dillingham. This team clearly has a window with Gobert, Randall, and Ant playing in his prime under a good contract. Like Ant is making what? 29% of the cap. He's a 35% of the cap guy. So this is a window for him to make, or for them to win it all. Gobert's 33. Randall's going to be 31 this year. So we'll see what they end up doing. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever. Like Robert Williams, I guess they would like to. I think they've been trying to trade Robert Williams for a while now. They just drafted Hansen Yang. You have Donovan Clingan as a starter. I guess he is like a rotational big man for a team that is trying to make the playoffs right now. Portland is 6-7. They just had a bad loss to the Houston Rockets, like just getting outmatched. And as bad as Dallas has been this year, that is a pretty bad loss by them. Robert Williams has kind of just been a backup big man. And you may be like, who else are they going to put at the backup 5 spot? So I could totally agree, but I could see them maybe trying to add, hey, a Marvin Bagley type thing at the deadline. It feels inevitable for Russell Westbrook to get traded. I'm sure Russ likes being the number 1 option, or at times the number 1 option in Sacramento. He's currently 4th on the team in scoring. He's averaging 14 points this year, 6.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. They are going to get Keegan Murray back hopefully soon, but this team is an absolute disaster. I do feel like it's inevitable for you to trade away somebody that's 37 years old under a veteran minimum. Can you get 2 seconds for him at the deadline? Obviously, he's an expiring contract, but like what team would want to add Russ, right? I don't even know. Because are you going to let Russ be Russ? I think there's a lot of weird things to it. Like, I don't think Denver tries to reunite that partnership. Like, Houston needs a point guard. I don't think we see him and Kevin Durant play. The Lakers, obviously not. San Antonio, no. Like, maybe Minnesota, if they really don't have any better option as another point guard. Like, maybe they take a chance on that. Maybe the Knicks take a chance on it as well. Like, with Brunson banged up. Maybe they don't like McBride as, like, an on-ball creator. He's more of an off-ball guy. He had a good game against the Toronto Raptors. And when you have against the Miami Heat, when you have Cat out there, like, Russ can be your only non-shooter at times. I could see that. I could have thought about Milwaukee at one point, but they're getting great guard play out of Ryan Rollins and good enough out of Cole Anthony. I don't really see the point in that. So it's like, yeah, you're talking about a team that doesn't own their first round pick, like New Orleans. Yeah, like you're 2-12, you don't own your first round pick. I know you have DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, and Jeremiah Fears, but Jordan Poole's hurt. DeJounte Murray's hurt. Do you want to continue to lose games? I mean, I don't hate it. I really don't hate it if you're trading. Like, I know you're a bad team. Trade a second or 2 for Russ, man. I don't know. He'll always play. Maybe he'll win you some games. Like, Zion's only played 5 this year. Poole's been banged up. I don't hate it. Like, it's sad just where they're at right now. I could see that. Phoenix, I thought about in the offseason. I don't think we end up seeing that. The Clippers would be a funny reunion just because Chris Paul has been really bad. I feel like it's inevitable. I wanted to bring up Scoot Henderson because they have Drew playing well this year. Shaedon Sharpe has been better as of late. Dame is back next year. I'm going to still put him in the probably not. But I wonder how Scoot looks when he comes back with the hamstring injury. It looks like that he was sidelined for about 1 to 2 months, and that news came out late September. So we're kind of hitting the 2-month mark very soon. So we'll see what ends up happening with Scoot Henderson in this rotation. I mean, Drew's already dealing with a calf injury, and Dame's not back till next year. Like, I think the chances of like Scoot and a trade of Scoot materializing is probably less than 5%. But if Portland is serious about making the playoffs this year, maybe they try to get aggressive with that going forward. And kind of Denny is in some ways a pseudo point guard as a ball handler for them. I think it makes sense for Tobias Harris to get traded. Now, this is like the Detroit thing where if they were going to make a move, they're at the top of the Eastern Conference, right? They're 12-2. They're on like a 10-game winning streak or something like that. Or I guess they're on a 10-game winning streak. They're the number 2 defensive team. They're the number 14 offensive team with no Ivy. Tobias missing some time. Cade being banged up lately. Like, shout out Dennis Jenkins, man. Tobias, you're going to lose that $26 million tradable contract. I think that's very valuable. We saw the Knicks have that with like going from Evan Fournier to Bojan Bogdanovic, which turned into Mikal Bridges. We see this all the time. I think it would be wise. Like Detroit, I don't know if they're going to track a free agent. They don't really have that much cap space in the offseason anyway with a Robert or with a Jalen Duren extension happening. And who knows about Ivy. I wouldn't hate for them to turn that $26 million contract into a $26 million contract in 2027 from somebody. So could you trade this for a 2-year contract remaining or something like that? Like, I don't think DeMar DeRozan's a good fit on this team, but like a contract like that we could trade away an expiring deal, 2 first-round picks if we wanted to make that aggressive move in the offseason. Like, I'll link them a ton to Lauri Markkanen. I think it makes sense. I think he'd be a good offensive fit on that team, and you're not getting there without Tobias Harris's contract. So that's why I think it makes sense. And they're good this year with Tobias Harris not really playing all that well. He's played 6 games. He's been out a little bit. He hasn't played since November 1st. And he wasn't really good in the games he played in. I know he was good for you last year, but sometimes you got to think forward thinking, and you're 12-2, largely without him this year. Trey Mann wouldn't shock me as well. Trey Mann has been not great for Charlotte this year, and you have LaMelo Ball. Colin Sexton has been a lot better for this team in that Trey Mann role. Trey Mann's defense has not been great. He had a cool dunk the other night, but he has been struggling this year. He's still just 24 years old. I think a team could take a chance on Trey Mann. And if Charlotte wants to get maybe more size or more wing depth, Trey Mann is making $8 million next year, and it's essentially an expiring contract in 2027. Therefore, I could see Charlotte pulling off a Mann and Bridges trade. And when you're watching the Hornets, these like Bridges and Mann are guys that I don't think are going to fit on this team long term. Zach LaVine, it's inevitable, right? I think Zach LaVine might headline. Like, he could be the biggest name traded at the deadline this year. He's maybe on an expiring contract, which could scare teams or make him more valuable. I don't know if he's going to opt in. I'm sure he would love an opt-in and extension in the offseason, but say some team offers Zach LaVine 3 for $100, kind of like that Randall extension. I think LaVine would opt out of $48 million to guarantee himself $100 million. I don't know Zach LaVine. I don't know his accountant or his financial advisor, but 30 years old. He's had some injury history. Lock yourself into another $100 million. I don't know how much that means to him. He's made plenty in his career, but I think there's a chance that LaVine could go that route. I think a team like the Clippers, who are desperate, could go for LaVine. They need another offensive weapon. He might not really cost anything. Like, I don't even know if you're getting a first rounder back for LaVine, which is sad because he headlined the Fox trade, but that was a different regime. So, and I just think it's easier to trade LaVine than Sabonis, and LaVine is more plug and play, or you're able to kind of fit him on more teams than Sabonis, where you really have to like rechange and just kind of basically change your whole basically change your whole offensive philosophy around Domantas Sabonis. So I think LaVine, it's inevitable. I think they would like to. I think Zion Williamson, like, they would like to trade him at this point. Zion hurt yet again, hamstring injury yet again. You know what? Some players, some people's like limbs and bodies and just ligaments or muscles, they're not as strong as others, right? Like, I don't think Anthony Davis is happy that he's always hurt. I don't think Zion is happy that he's always hurt, but like, your human body is different than somebody else's body. Like Russell Westbrook, who freaking never gets hurt unless it's like a freak Patrick Beverley thing from the playoffs, right? Zion has a favorable contract in a way. $39 million this year. You can cut him next year. You can cut him in 2028, given the injury clause in his contract. He probably a change of scenery guy. I think New Orleans, it sucks because I was there for it. I was making videos for it. I was in the weeds for it. When they won the lottery, it was a huge freaking deal back in 2019. Anthony Davis was getting traded, and this was going to be their next franchise superstar. We got close to that in 2021, or 2021 for Zion. I just want to double check. Yeah, 2021, where he was an all-star, absolute stud. He was hurt to start off his rookie year, played 24 games leading up to the shutdown of COVID, didn't play in 2022. You start to be like, okay, this is weird. Only 29 games in 23. 2024 was fun, but he gets hurt in the play-in. 30 games last year, already hurt this year, missed the team flight. New regime right now, like it's Troy Weaver, right? Making the calls. No, Troy Weaver making the calls, along with Joe Dumars in New Orleans. I believe it's Troy Weaver that's currently there right now. Isn't he their GM? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking him as the old Pelicans guy. Okay, so Joe Dumars making the call, obviously. This team has been a disaster this year. They fired Willie Green, which felt like inevitable, but Willie Green never really got that much out of Zion Williamson because he never really played. Everybody was hurt last year, and Joe Dumars traded away their first round pick. Now, Derek Queen has shown enough flashes. If that pick falls to 4, I could live with giving up Derek Queen, or I could live with giving up Caleb Wilson, Mikal Brown, Koa Pete, one of those guys, Nate Ament, for Derek Queen. Like, it's not the end of the world, but if I'm giving up Derek Queen for DeBanza, Boozer, or Peterson, I'm going to hate my life a little bit if I'm a Pelicans fan. So I do think Zion, it's not inevitable because apparently his value is at an all-time low. I'm sure they would like for him to be healthy to trade him. Maybe it makes sense. We'll bring up Kristaps Porzingis. I don't think they would do it because it doesn't make sense, but like Kristaps and the Pelicans pick back for Zion. No, you're not doing that if you're Atlanta. You got some own issues, but you're not getting your first round pick back unless you're maybe you're giving them Trey Murphy and freaking, I don't even know. Like, Atlanta has no incentive to give you your first back. Benedict Mathurin wouldn't shock me either. There was probably a reason why they didn't extend him. Who knows how good his numbers are going to look this year? Who knows how they're going to feel about Mathurin next year? Like, if they draft DeBanza or Peterson, there's your Mathurin replacement at a much cheaper cost long term. I think they're eventually going to move on from either McConnell, TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, or Obi Toppin at the deadline. I think Obi Toppin maybe feels like the most likely guy, or TJ McConnell, but it wouldn't shock me if they moved Mathurin before restricted free agency. Anthony Simons wouldn't, I'm sure actually they would like to. He just, I think, got benched recently by Joe Mazzulla. He's just a hot and cold guy, right? Like, he's not going to play much defense. He's going to be a shoot first guy. Making $27 million this year. We're learning it was more so empty stats in Portland all those years ago when he was the number 1 option. They're 7-7 right now. They're actually top 10 in net rating, but it's also like so early, and the East teams are just kind of beating up on each other right now. He's shooting 39% from 3, 40% from the field, but like, you're kind of already getting that type of volume and somewhat production out of Pritchard and White, for better or for worse. You don't need really Anthony Simons. They would like to trade him if they can. Like, Drew has looked so much better than Simons this year. That's looking like a really good trade by Portland. I just don't know if there's going to be a robust market for it. Gafford, it wouldn't shock me. They just extended Gafford, but it happened earlier than PJ Washington. So PJ Washington cannot get traded this year. He's trade restricted, I think, yeah, till March, which is after the deadline. Gafford, though, they'll be able to trade, even though they extended him. I mean, we're going to talk about plenty of Mavericks. He's the first one to talk about, but this team is headed towards the wrong direction right now. They just lost yesterday. Who the hell did they lose to yesterday? They got blown out by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, it was a back-to-back, and they are 4-11. It's a tough road to get back up there in the West. AD's hurt. We're going to talk about AD. Kyrie's still hurt. A lot of workload on Cooper Flagg. I think if there's a market for Gafford, you should do that, especially with Lively. I know you might not extend Lively, but he's making about $10 million less, which you can use maybe to go after a mid-tier free agent in the offseason. Anthony Davis. Oh boy. I don't know if it's inevitable because I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to be healthy. That's why we're doing this kind of way too early. Anthony Davis currently out right now with a calf injury. And what is scary about the calf injuries, they could linger to Achilles injuries. So they are being very cautious. He's out for another 7 to 10 days. He'll be reevaluated with the calf injury. He had like an Achilles soreness earlier in the year. Like, if Anthony Davis, God forbid, knock on wood, like, I pray this doesn't happen, but if he blew out his Achilles, right, and he suffers a catastrophic injury at 32 years old, DeMarcus Cousins' career was over, and he suffered that before 32. You are getting nothing back for Luka Doncic. You're getting, what? An injury-riddled AD season last year, and this year you're getting Max Christie in a first-round pick. But if Anthony Davis suffers that injury, his value is almost zero. It's next to zero. So you need to be so cautious with this. Pray to God. Pray to the injury gods in Anthony Davis's body that he is healthy enough for 20 games leading up to the deadline. He doesn't have to look like Anthony Davis last year, but 85% of that, I think you can at least get something back. Are you getting a player of the caliber of Luka Doncic? Hell no. Can you get pieces that can be complementary guys around Cooper Flagg going forward? Yes. So this is so iffy. I can't say it's inevitable because I don't know if he's going to be healthy. It just makes sense. It makes sense. They're bad this year. Kyrie's out for a couple more months, or at least, a couple more months. And this team probably not winning a playoff series if they even magically get there. Klay Thompson's been a disaster. D'Angelo Russell's been a disaster. Some guys have taken steps back this year. It makes sense for them to trade AD. I can't say it's inevitable because I don't know if he's going to be healthy. But if he is, it's inevitable. Cam Thomas, it makes sense. Now, Cam Thomas puts up numbers, but he signed, I believe, the qualifying offer. So that means he has a no-trade clause. But I think Cam Thomas, if he wants to showcase opposing teams that could want his services, I think it would be better for him to go out and show that he could be somewhat of a productive player in the playoffs than be 23 points on a tanking Nets team in the second half, playing no defense, playing shoot first alongside Michael Porter Jr. Because if Cam Thomas can get traded to the Bucks, Warriors, I don't know, a team that is trying to make the playoffs, that is looking for a three-point shooting option, that thinks they can turn Cam Thomas around, I think he should waive that no-trade clause and he can make more money on the free agency market. I think so. Maybe Brooklyn is so desperate that, okay, Trae Young is not available. AD's not available in the offseason, and we don't own our first round pick in 27. Maybe they'd give Cam Thomas a 2-year deal. We've like a Kuminga type deal, right? Where it's like a 1+1. He can opt out and re-enter free agency. Maybe that ends up happening just because they're desperate. But I think if Cam Thomas wants to maximize his earnings, we got to see him play for a winning team. Because, I mean, Cam Thomas was fun in 2024, but the Nets were bad. They finished 32-50. 26-56. They're going to finish with a bad record this year. Cam Thomas is not playing meaningful games. I think if he wants to make money, we got to see him play meaningful games. So I think it makes sense going forward. Dennis Schroeder, it makes sense as well. I mean, this team gave Dennis Schroeder a 2-year deal. He's essentially, it has a 3rd-year team option, which can be valuable. He just had a really nice game off the bench against San Antonio. And I think teams, especially if point guard injuries happen, we could see it. I mean, if Dallas does not want to throw in the towel yet, he could be a perfect Dallas Maverick right now, right? So I think we could definitely see Dennis Schroeder end up getting traded. I mean, they loved what he did in Eurobasket, right? But this one, I think they would like to have some of that cap back. Russ is outperforming Schroeder, and he's making $12 million less. Dalton Connect, I think they would like to. I think they would like to parlay Dalton Connect into some type of big man asset, some type of defender this year. He has been shooting the ball a little bit better as of late, and he was like the 17th overall pick, so he's making like next to nothing over the next 3 years. I think the Lakers, if they're trying to maximize the LeBron window, which could be coming to an end this year, this one makes a little bit of sense. I just don't know if there's going to be a good enough market for Connect. I don't think Derek White gets traded. I think it's like the same thing with like all 3 of these guys, or all 4 of these guys, maybe more similar to Siakam. You throw a Godfather offer, like just a offer they can't refuse. Yes, if you're giving me 4 first-round picks, like maybe the Desmond Bane package, something like that, the Mikal Bridges package, I think they would think about it going forward. But I know Derek White's been kind of bad this year in this new role he's in. Still a good defender, passer, right? Good in transition, but struggling with his higher usage as a shooter. So we'll see what ends up happening. Contract is pretty big. If that materializes, I think it could be more so in the offseason. DeMar DeRozan, they would like to. I just don't know who wants to trade for DeMar DeRozan in the big year 2025. Or in 2026. So DeRozan, it's not a bad contract. It's partially guaranteed next year. I think it's mostly guaranteed for the 2027 season. Can I look at what this is? So $10 million is guaranteed. $12 million is guaranteed if it makes the All-Star game. Not happening. 14 if he made it both years. Not happening. And it's fully guaranteed if they make it to the finals. Not happening. Yeah, not happening. So this contract's going to have essentially $10 million guaranteed next year. So, hey, that's like what I mean for like Detroit. Do you take something on like that for Tobias, and then you could parlay the $25 million in a different trade? DeRozan's still not like a bad player. like by far, but he lives in the mid-range. He's not the best defender anymore. He likes to operate with the ball in his hands. Are you willing to kind of go for that? Now, similar to like New Orleans, I don't think they're trading for DeMar. It doesn't make sense, but he plays. DeMar has been pretty much available every single year of his career outside of what, like 2015 Toronto, 2012 Toronto, and even then he missed 19 games, which I think the Pelicans, that would be like top 3 on their roster, and he missed 21 games in 2021 with the Spurs. But over the last 5 freaking seasons, this guy plays at 36 years old. He still can average close to 20 points per game. He's been a little bit better of a 3-point shooter. Like, I could see the market. I think they would like to. I think he's probably the most intriguing guy here just because he's more available than Zion. He's cheaper than Michael Porter Jr. I think we could see that materialize. Domantas Sabonis, probably not. Or they would like to. I think they would like to get a nice haul for Domantas Sabonis. I think they're going to be quite upset what teams would realistically offer. I don't even know what teams would realistically offer, like Zion for Domantas Sabonis, who says no. Anthony Davis for Domantas Sabonis, who says no. Yeah, that's where Domantas' value is at. I think there's a ceiling on him with him as your best player. This could be a Brooklyn Nets. Like, this could be a net next year if they can't get anybody else. All right, we'll pay 50 cents on the dollar for Domantas Sabonis. I think it's tough for that to materialize at the deadline. Dylan Brooks, probably not. I think he was a sexy trade candidate going into the year. Couple years left on the deal. Good role player. Raise your floor. But Phoenix doesn't own their first round pick. He's playing well for them. There's no reason to trade him. Devin Carter. It wouldn't shock me. I think a team would like to trade for maybe Devin Carter buy low. I mean, he was drafted 13th overall in 2024. They're not getting a first round pick for Devin Carter. So I don't think that they would sell low, but who the hell knows? It was a different regime that drafted him. D'Lo, I'm sure they would like to. D'Lo's been way too all over the place for Dallas to start off this year's season. He's not been their bridge point guard that they would have liked in the absence of Kyrie. So far this year, he's shooting about 38% from the field and 22% from 3. And he's not a good defender. So what is he doing there? This team is 3rd in defensive rating. Every team like top 10 in defensive rating has a positive net rating. Not this team, because the offense is such dog shit this year because you're putting too much pressure on Cooper Flagg. So I don't know. Yeah, like Devo, like AD's not playing. Devo's been bad. Clay's been bad. Najee Marshall and PJ Washington can't really knock down threes. Nobody can really knock down threes on this team outside of Max Christie and Jaden Hardy at the moment. So yeah, I think they would. Or who was I talking about? D'Lo, right? Where did I put him? I put D'Lo. They would like to. Yeah, they would like to. Hayward Highsmith. It makes sense. Hayward Highsmith is a rotational guy for arguably the worst team in the NBA or close to it in the Brooklyn Nets. He's been hurt this year, though. They basically got him for free in the offseason because Miami was looking to duck the salary cap. He's experienced swelling in his knee. A little scary, so we'll see what ends up happening with him later in the year. Makes sense for the Nets to trade him. Corey Kispert. It makes sense as well. He's on not a bad contract. If you're looking for some 3-point shooting, hey, Dallas, maybe that's you. Could they look for Corey Kispert, who's making $13 million, essentially 14 next 2 years, 13 in 2028, team option in 2029. Not a bad contract, not a great defender, but shooting comes at a premium in the NBA. And Corey Kispert, to my knowledge, has been an elite 3-point shooter every single year of his career, maybe outside his rookie year, but the guy knocks down his threes, and I think in a scaled back role, very useful. Fred VanVleet, it makes sense. Houston. I wonder, so my question with Houston going into the year, and I wonder, Rockets fans, are you changing your opinion about this? Houston is really good this year. 3rd in net rating, arguably the best 3-point shooting team in the league, number 1 in offensive rating, 9-3. This might be like Kevin Durant's last of the year. You never know. He's 37. He's 37. He signed an extension, but this is a window for you to win it all, to beat the Rockets, to beat the Nuggets. You beat those teams, you're going to be a favorite in the NBA Finals. Fred VanVleet is giving you 0 production this year. We saw the Bucks do that, or saw that with Dame. They waived Dame. Would you leverage Fred VanVleet's $25 million salary, $25 million player option next year to go out and get anybody we talked about here? The guy that makes the most sense, Derek White, but would you dangle the Nets first rounder? Would you dangle the Suns first rounders? I don't know. You're not trading Fred VanVleet for DeMar DeRozan. You're not trading him for Malik Monk, I don't think, but like the money works. Like Dennis Schroeder, do you want like another weak ball handler? I don't know if I love that. So I'm like looking through all these guys, right? There's not many that make sense. Quentin Grimes would be great, but Philly, you can't make the money work with that. Like Derek White, you can get there. You can get there, but I don't know if that would even happen. I think it's more so Boston maybe asking too much, and I don't know if Houston wants to do that. But I think it makes sense for them to trade somebody that's not helping you during the playoffs. And now that you're playing well, playing like an elite team, does that change your mind about being more aggressive this year? John Morant, I don't think it happens. If it does, I think it would happen in the offseason. I mean, Memphis is pretty bad this year, right? They are 4-10. I didn't expect them to be good. Ja's hurt. Edie just came back. Clark's hurt. Jerome's hurt. Scottie Pippen's hurt. Like, Scottie Pippen, John Morant, and Jerome was supposed to be such a luxury for Memphis, and it's just the complete opposite this year with all of them hurt. We're seeing, like, nice play to Cedric Howard. I mean, Jared Jackson Jr. got his money, still fouling a lot, not rebounding at all. But yeah, I think he'll be a popular offseason name, but I don't think they trade him this year. If they land like a Darren Peterson, I think they can go in a different direction. Jaden Ivey, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. So we know that they're going to pay Jalen Duren. You have to after what he's looking like this year, as long as he can do that over the course of the year. Jaden Ivey's about to come back. So I think this could be a big stretch leading up to the deadline with Detroit being the top of the Eastern Conference. How does the numbers with Cade and Ivey look? Now, I don't know if Pistons fans are going to like hearing this, but their starting lineup has not been great this year in terms of like net rating. Yeah, like lineups this year. So like their most played lineup is Cade, Duren, Tobias, Duncan Robinson, and Asar Thompson. They're negative 9.7 points per 100 possessions. You're looking at this lineup being a little bit better with Isaiah Stewart on the floor. You're looking at, this lineup, which doesn't even feature Cade. This lineup looks pretty good with Duncan Robinson, but it's only 25 minutes played this year. So they've experimented with a bunch of different lineups, right? But like this one, I mean, you're basically going to replace Ivey and Robinson, and that's probably your lineup, your starting lineup. So we'll see how that lineup looks going forward. And it's going to be something to keep an eye on this year, but it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. Jakob Poeltl, I don't think so, but I wanted to bring him up because this team is a lot better when Mamu is on the floor compared to Poeltl because he's able to space the floor. Toronto's been on a heater as of late. They are currently 9-5, 11th ranked defense, surprisingly the 9th ranked offense this year. And Mamu has been a great floor spacer for this team. Scotty Barnes and Ingram have been playing really well as of late. Same with Emmanuel Quickly. They just extended Jakob Poeltl. You'd have to find a team that really wants a big man. Big man injuries will come. They'd probably be wise to get out of that contract because I don't think it's going to age the best. It's 19 next 2 years, and then there's a 3-year extension on top of that till his age, 35 season. That's a little scary. Jarris Walker wouldn't shock me either, but they would be selling at the absolute low. You would have traded Walker going into the year, but Jarris Walker has definitely missed Tyrese Halliburton. He's averaging this year from 3? It's 26% from 3, 29% from the field. He can't even back down smaller defenders. He's still like an intriguing prospect at 22, but could this be a change of scenery guy? I think so, and that's why it wouldn't shock me. Kuminga, they would probably still like to, but I don't know who's offering what for Kuminga at this point. Like maybe Phoenix calls them up again, maybe Sacramento calls them up again as well. Kuminga has shown flashes this year, but he's not as good when Steph Curry's out, but hey, you're going to hope if you're not winning at all if Steph Curry's out, right? So you're going to hopefully maximize Kuminga with Curry. It was kind of agreed upon that he was going to get traded. I don't know if the first 13 games have changed that or not. So it's something to keep an eye on. I think they would still like to. Keon Ellis, it makes sense. Change of scenery, can be a free agent at the end of the year. Some team's going to give up 2 seconds for Keon Ellis, and it's going to be like, oh, this guy can actually play in a playoff series, but Sacramento doesn't play him. Kristaps, this was brought up in a report lately. He's been a little disappointing this year for Atlanta while Kongwu is taking a stride going forward. I think they would like to. I don't know, but wasn't the Kristaps move to win? So why would you move him? Maybe this would leverage, are you trading away Kristaps for Anthony Davis? I don't think so. So it's what player are you getting for KP going forward? I don't know. I'm actually going to put him probably not, but he's an expiring. Chris Middleton, they would like to. Nobody's matching his salary right now. He's going to get bought out. And I'll say the same with CJ McCollum. I think teams could use a CJ McCollum, but they'd rather just take their chances on the buyout market. If you're already a second apron team and can't get him in the buyout market, it's going to be really tough for you to trade for him in general. But I expect CJ and Middleton to be bought out this year and playing in some type of playoff rotation in a minimal role. I'm sure they would like to trade Klay Thompson, the Dallas Mavericks, but he needs to play a lot better for them to get any type of asset for Klay Thompson this year. Klay is under contract next year as well. So his 31% from 3, 33% from the field stats need to be better for a team to give you any type of asset. Jordan Hawkins wouldn't shock me. Different regime. Last year of the team option is next year. I think they have a plethora of wings at the moment. They could look at that. Cody Williams wouldn't shock me either. Another change of scenery guy. We got Jalen Hood-Schifino's like third-year option, not even picked up in year number 2. Like, Cody Williams could be off this team next year. I don't think Utah's in a rush to do so. Wouldn't shock me. We have LaMelo Ball. Probably not. I think it could get brought up. Like, could we leverage LaMelo Ball into Ja Morant or Trae Young? Which, oh God, I don't like Ja Morant in Charlotte for obvious reasons, but I don't mind Trae Young. But that's in division. Probably not going to happen. I don't know. Like, are we going to do the same song and dance with LaMelo that we've been doing with Zion? And we kind of have been doing it with LaMelo, which is kind of a shame. Kyrie, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I don't want to say actually, it does make sense. If you're going to go into it, actually, it wouldn't shock me. I don't mind Kyrie Irving playing next year. I think he's actually going to be a good player next year off the ACL tear. I think he's that skilled and talented. Not maybe the same player, but good enough where, hey, you get a top 10 pick, you have Cooper Flag, you have some assets back for Anthony Davis. I don't mind Kyrie being your point guard, which is going to benefit Cooper Flag's development, which may be well worth more than what you're going to get in return for Kyrie off an ACL tear. Rudy Gobert, probably not, but I think, I wanted to bring somebody up from Minnesota. I wanted to bring Randall or Reed or Gobert. I went with Gobert just because same thing with Dillingham. Like, you kind of have this window with Anthony Davis or Anthony Edwards, where it's like, can we be more aggressive here? Are they an AD team? Are they a Trae Young team? Are they a Ja Morant team? And they're very like, it's tough to make the money work. Now, I don't really think you need Naz Reid and Randall with McDaniels, who can be kind of a 3 and a 4. The way Randall's playing, I would think about moving Naz Reid. I know he's a fan favorite, but he may have more trade value than Gobert given the age. Just wanted to bring it up. Tim Wolves fans, let me know. Markkanen, it makes sense. It makes sense for them to move him. I don't know if it's possible. Like, is Utah and Danny Ainge going to ask for too much? He's helping them win games this year. I don't know how they feel about that, but the dude is averaging 30 a night this year on good true shooting percentage. He has been on one this season at 28. He lost a lot of value last year. He's gaining that back quickly right now. It is a large contract. That's the thing. We'll see if Detroit gets aggressive. That's like a team. I know it's been brought up. Charlotte, I don't know. Maybe. Philly, Paul George and some picks. I don't know. Maybe. Trae Young. Oh boy. Probably not. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's got a player option. They've been playing better without Trae Young. Just had to bring it up, right? It's going to be a topic of conversation. If this team, like when Trae Young comes back, plays worse, we could see it materialize at the deadline. Like, I don't know. It's just like Trae's trade value because of the contract. LaMelo's because of the injury. Zion because of the injury. AD's because of the injury. Sabonis because of the limitations. Like, what do these guys go for on the open market? Is it even worth trading them? And then I think it makes sense to move McConnell with his age going forward, and they're going to probably want to save money. So that was a lot of guys we talked about. That was fun as hell. I enjoyed that a lot. It's so early to put guys in. It's inevitable. So I left that one kind of thin right now. You can let me know anybody after these two, like who's the most inevitable. Like I said, I think Anthony Davis is inevitable, but I just don't know with his health at the moment. Let me know if there's anybody I put in probably not that you think can actually get traded this year down below.